Welcome back to the channel, another video. Right now we are heading on a tour in Catalina Island. We're gonna go see the bisons and the buffalo. There's a tour on the Catalina Island. Let's go check out this tour.
So,
something else you can do is go on the bison tour. Right? We're gonna go into the interior of the island.
okay. So welcome to all of you. And when did you all get here? Today, yesterday, last week, 2 months ago?
Today.
This morning. Okay, you guys in the middle, ladies? Today, and you guys in the back? Yesterday. All right. Well, like I said, welcome to all of you. And this is the city of Avalon here, and this city was incorporated back in 1913. And according to the 2020 census, we have 3,619 full-time residents of the city. Also, according to the 2020 census, we have 3,972 full-time residents of the island. I've been here at a great time here. You may have noticed how close the houses are to each other. And that's because when they incorporated the city, that's when they drew the property lines. And they drew those property lines for tent sites, not houses. So these are fantastically large tent sites. Maybe not so much for houses. As a matter of fact, at one point they did call this city Tent City. And you may have also noticed all of our golf carts around. In order to get a golf cart, you must be a full-time resident for a year. At which point you go down to City Hall, fill out the application, pay the fee. They say, okay, great, you can have a golf cart. But there is only one golf cart allotted per household, so if you have 2 people in the household, you get 1 golf cart. If you have 10 people in the household, you get 1 golf cart. So in order to get a full-size automobile here on Catalina Island, what you would then do is a year later go back down to City Hall, fill out the application, pay the fee. And they say, okay, great, thank you very much. We'll let you know in about 28 years. That is the current wait time to get a full-size automobile here on Catalina Island. And it is only done through attrition, which means somebody has to leave the island and take the automobile with them, or somebody has to die to get that line moving. Now, have you guys been to our bonds here? Anyone?
No.
Okay, well this is our new bonds. We like it a lot better than our old bonds. Hey, why aren't you at work?
Huh? I have a day off.
Oh, they gave you a day off?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, thanks.
You don't deserve a day off. Anyway, so this is our new bonds, and not only does it have a golf cart parking lot, but it also has spaces for 3 full-size vehicles. So we are very happy with it. We're competing with New York City on that one. And if you guys have been to the old bonds, you would have seen how small the store was. The aisles were so narrow, they were about 3 feet wide. So the rule of thumb was back then, whoever made it to the aisle first had right of way. So that of course made your shopping trip a series of sprints to try to get to the aisle first to get your shopping done. We've also graduated to what I call those Fisher Price shopping carts. Now we have full-size shopping carts available for those who want as well. So right down here, this huge 3-inch building with the black windows, this is the old bonds. And as you can see, it's about the size of a large convenience store, so that's why we're so excited to have the new bonds. Here on your right, this round white building with the reddish orange roof, that is our casino. There's a ballroom up on the top floor, and there's a theater down below, which after a very long hiatus because of COVID has recently reopened, so we're very excited about that. So if you guys are here on a Friday or Saturday night, you can actually go see a movie there. They're doing their Alfred Hitchcock movies right now. They've done Rear Window, Vertigo, The Birds, the next month and stuff. So very cool. But of course, there is no gambling. Never has been. The word casino means place of gathering. And as we come up here, we're going to make a right-hand turn. On the left side is the oldest house in Avalon, built in 1888. This tannish brown house over here. Yeah, so they're doing a remodel on it now, but you probably also heard it was Dave Brave who brought the Bison to the island. He brought 16 males in 1920, and at first it was thought that he brought them over for the movie The Man from American, but that movie was filmed in Arizona and Utah, and there were no bison in it. So right now, film and literature historians at UCLA, USC, and Arizona State are actually going back and re-looking at that theory. They think he might have been trying to bring them over for other reasons, such as ranching, or the more likely one, to form his own personal Western utopia. But nonetheless, this is where he lived, right up here. This is now the St. Gray Pueblo Hotel. The building on the left is a new addition, but the one on the right, that was his actual residence where he lived. And as you guys know, Zane Grey wrote over 100 novels and well over 1,000 short stories on top of his movie producing career. But about the same time, in 1919, another gentleman arrived on this island. He liked it so much that he decided to buy it. You guys have probably chewed his gum. Maybe watched his baseball team play, and that was William Wrigley. And when he purchased the island, he purchased it for the amount of $2 million, which, adjusting for inflation, that comes to $38 million today. So if you guys can get this island for $38 million, all you do is sign on that dotted line. You don't even need to have the funds. The money will come flowing in at that point. Now, the real trick is to get them to offer it to you at that price. But nonetheless, when he got here, he did ask his wife, Ada, where would you like me to build you a house? And she quite famously responded, somewhere where I can see both the sunrise and sunset. So he built her a house right over there on that hill. That hill is called Mount Ada, and that white house with the green roof and flagpole in front, that's where they live. That is now a 6-room bed and breakfast, and if you stay there, not only will you get your own golf cart, but you'll also get your own personal chef. Of course, it's not inexpensive. Those are about $850 a night during the off-season, about $1,600 a night during the regular summertime season. But right below here is a place called Casa del Monte. This is where the current Allison Wrigley-Rusak and her husband Jeff Rusak live. If you know anything about wines, you know that Jeff Rusak has a vineyard here on the island. Also vineyards in Santa Barbara with his winery there. His wife, Allison Wrigley-Rusak, she is the great-granddaughter of William Wrigley. But before they took up residence there, it was Philip Knight Wrigley who lived there. He was the one that started the Conservancy back in 1972. And it was in 1975 that he deeded over 88% of the island to the Conservancy. And that is still California's largest land trust deal. But before he did so, he made 2 very important, very strategic business maneuvers. First thing he did was he kept the water rights to the island. Second thing he did was he kept the road rights to the island. So not only does that house down below have a very nice swimming pool and tennis court, it also has what they call the true entry of the island. That is a 3-car garage. So all those rules and regulations are they do not apply to the Wrigley family or their descendants. As a matter of fact, Allison Wrigley-Rusak does have a bumper sticker on one of her vehicles that reads, "Yes, in fact, I do all the roads." But I will say this, Allison and Jeff are 2 of the loveliest and 2 of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And they do a lot for this island and a lot for the people on it. And I will say it's been a great pleasure getting to know them. Yeah. So over here on your right, you guys notice these green bushes with the yellow flowers here? This is what we call Genista lentifolia. And the common name for that is canary broom or canary flaxseed. And that's an incredibly invasive species, not only here on this island, but up and down the entire west coast, Washington, Oregon, California. And it started when someone brought 4 plants to the island. And it nearly took over the island. Now, once you get to the Conservancy side, you're not going to find any Genista anywhere. We've totally eradicated it from our side of the island. Now, we have asked the Catalina Island Company if they would like assistance getting rid of it from their side. They have said no. But even if they said yes, it would take about 70 years to eliminate. So you guys see all these green bushes with yellow flowers are all this side of the hill. Some haven't even blossomed yet. That is all Genista lentifolia. And those little yellow flowers that are coming out of those plants, those flowers have been dropping seeds into the ground now for decades. And of course, those seeds are currently lying dormant. So you can see it's all over the side of the hill here. When we turn in front of you and in back of you and your left side and your right side, it is everywhere. Now, what makes this plant so bad is that it actually alters the soil chemistry. So even if we were to remove these plants, we'd have to wait a couple of seasons for the soil to flush out before we could do anything about it. Oh yeah, absolutely. Without yeah. So well, yeah, the soil content and higher the pH and it kills it. All right. So is anybody here going on the zip line? No. Does anybody want to go on the zip line? Has anybody been on the zip line? All right. So if you want to go on the zip line and you can't get a reservation this time, come back to Catalina Island, because the Catalina Island Company has filed a petition with the city of Avalon to extend the zip line. Now, right now, this is the longest zip line in the state of California, but where they want to take it to makes it the longest zip line in the United States. So we'll show you where they want that to go. That is not the zip line. That is the zap line. You do not want to go on that. That's going to have a totally different ending for you. The zip line is over here on your left. We are not going to send you down that line. All right, so you are now on Stagecoach Road, and this is the road that William Wrigley took as he was traversing the island. And since he owned the island, he had a lot of business on it, so he was a regular on the stagecoach. But his wife Ada did not like him on the stagecoach, because at that time this road was a lot more narrow, and there was nothing between this road and what lies beneath. Now, do you guys know how William Wrigley made his initial fortune? Anyone? Okay. So think Ray Kroc of McDonald's. Ray Kroc of McDonald's did not make his fortune in hamburgers. He made it in the real estate surrounding the franchises. Well, same concept here. When William Wrigley first started 1,000 gum trees and said, hey, could you send some eucalyptus trees this way? And they did. Once they got here, they planted them all alongside this road. So there are now 458 eucalyptus trees that line this road and now serve as a natural barrier, thereby making Ada Wrigley a lot happier as well. Okay. So as you look over here to your right at almost 3 o'clock, you're going to see a landmass over there. That is Rancho Palos Verdes. That is the closest landmass to Catalina Island at 22 miles away. And as you come over here to your left to about 1 o'clock, you're going to see a hill with a tower on it. That is Mount Blackjack. And if you come further to your left to about 12 o'clock, you're going to find a flat top hill over there. That is Mount Orizaba. That is the highest point on Catalina Island at 2,102 feet. Now, you guys see that point that juts out right over there at 3 o'clock? Yeah. That is Long Point. That makes our island 8 miles wide. And our island is 8 miles wide by 22 miles long. And on really clear days, we can go see over to the San Bernardino Mountains and Mount Baldy. On really clear days, we can see down into San Diego County and, of course, over to Big Bear. This is that dust exfoliation program I was speaking to you guys about. But you are now on Catalina Island Conservancy property, and the first thing you'll notice is no genista. We've totally eradicated it from our side of the island, and our botanists, plant technicians, and volunteers do a really good job at making sure it does not come back. This is where the locals come whenever they want to get out of town, maybe have a picnic, let the kids play. It's also one of the first rest stops on the Trans-Catalina Trail. You guys see that play structure back there? Yeah. The bison love that play structure. Because what's underneath it is sawdust, and that sawdust is incredibly cool and soft during the summer months. And as you guys are probably aware, it was President Obama who declared the bison to be our national mammal. So it was very appropriate on the 4th of July holiday last year, as well as Memorial Day, that one of our herds came down here, took over the recreation area, and displaced a lot of our 4th of July and Memorial Day picnickers. So they seem to know our holiday schedule here. William Wrigley himself, he was quite the conservationist of his era. And when he first purchased this island, it was his goal and his dream to keep this island in its most original condition. But he was also big into recreation. He owned a baseball team. So it was also his goal and his dream to share this island with other people. And we are quite fortunate that his children and grandchildren have also shared in that vision. So the only time that this island was not occupied by tourists or guests, that was during World War II. And at that time, all 6 branches of the U.S. military were here, including one called the OSS. You see me right there.
CIA started there.
It might have a Zoom.
All right, I'm looking for this herd of bison. I don't know where they have gone.
No.
Okay,
no,
where
it's
is it at?
Oh, it's behind me.
Okay, just don't move.
It's gone.
Okay, all right. Swarm of bees ahead of you. Close your windows. All right. That's one of our fellow employees. Yeah, we have. That's why I'm like, you know, I got to know where they are. Is anybody here allergic to bees? No. Okay. All right. All right. Sorry about that. Not what I, like I said, not what I wanted. So we have bees here on Catalina.
Just tell people it's part of the tour.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, exactly. First, I hit my bees. All right. Where was I? Okay, so then they put the females on birth control, PZP, Porcina pellucidae, and that is an equine birth control. And what they would do is they would tranquilize the female, inject the birth control, and then tag the female. And that stopped the breeding immediately. But we still had over 500, nearly 600 bison on the island. That's still too many. So the ecologists, botanists, zoologists, biologists, they all got together, did some calculating, and they determined that the maximum number of bison this island could sustain was 200. Optimal would be around 150. So that's when they made the decision to remove the bison from the island. And that proved to be a lot more challenging. So we had employees, staff, and volunteers all going around asking people if they could take the bison off our hands. The only caveat was that the bison could not be used for consumption. So they could not be slaughtered. Now, since then, bison have become a protected species here on the island. So if you guys are eating a bison burger or bison meat, you guys actually know what it is that you're eating? No? Okay. So what you are actually eating is a bison that has been bred with a cow. That is called a beefalo. Oh. So this is they're doing rescue drills out here. They've been doing them all along. These are our rescue teams, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and some of our rescue teams over here as well, learning to work the interior. Thank you. So, hey, how are you? So they're doing some training out here. So, all right. Yeah, so they were back there doing training. Some of our rangers also are included in that group as well, first responders. But anyway, we don't know that they are below. We believe them to be. Yeah, but anyway. So like I said, 37.5% DNA-wise is bison meat. The rest is cow. But we had one really fantastically dedicated volunteer on this island. She really loved the bison. She really wanted to see them eventually get home. So she tracked down every hint and every lead that she possibly could. And after about 2.5 years of calling around, even on weekends and holidays, she finally got a hit. And that hit was with the Lakota Native American tribe in South Dakota, Custer State Park. To maybe get a drink and a cookie. If you do need to use the restroom, it is the first door on your right between the two blue vases. And everybody, please watch your step getting on the vehicle. I don't want anybody falling out. That would not be a good addition to your tour.
Alright, so we're about halfway done with the tour. We are at the top of the Catalina Mountains right now. Came out to stop out a little bit. This is the airport section. Enjoying a little restaurant here and a little bit of view. Right? The view is amazing. And then this is the back of the restaurant where everybody's sitting and eating inside the restaurant there.
You don't see them up here. Okay. Yeah, that says San Bernardino Mountains, and Mount Baldy's the one with the snow. And you can just see the tops of the Saddleback Mountains right over there as well. But just barely. That marine layer is a little bit thick today. Okay, so everybody, like I said, keep good fox hunts in mind. But it was the Pimu Tonga who brought over the American gray fox. And the Tonga were the native, is a lone male bison that lives down on this part of the trail. So we tell people when they come through here, be sure to make a lot of noise. Whatever you do, do not startle that bison. Now, last November, a young lady was coming down through here, and she did not make enough noise. And she startled that bison, and that bison charged her.
Oh no.
And she was talking to the rangers later on. She was saying she had no place to run and no place to hide. And essentially, she was just hoping that the bison would make it quick and just kill her right off. That is how absolutely dire her circumstances were in that case. So, out of complete total fear, she ended up dropping to her hands and knees and putting her face in the ground and covering her head with her hands. But the thing about it is that she was wearing a backpack. And that backpack acted as a tortoise shell for her. And that bison repeatedly gored that backpack, and each time it would gore the backpack and would rear its head up, lift up the backpack and her with it. So on about the fourth gore and the fourth lift, she managed to reach up and unlatch that backpack. And she dropped out of it and she hit the ground running. Now there was a couple coming down behind her on the side of the hill. They saw this attack going on, so they started running down the hill, yelling and screaming and throwing rocks at the bison, trying to get it to break off its attack, which it eventually did. Then they got her to the side of the road. They flagged down one of our drivers, and of course he called for the... All right. Hey, we found the bison.
Yay.
All right. Usually when they're over here, we see, and then they'll urinate in it, and then they'll roll around in it. And what that does is that provides them with a natural sunscreen, and it protects them from parasites and insects. So it's a very incredibly important behavior for them. Okay. So do you guys know the difference between bison? There's one wallowing right in front of us here.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys know the difference between bison and buffalo?
Is it size?
All right. So bison are endemic to North America. Buffalo are endemic to Asia and Africa. Morphologically, bison horns go straight up. Buffalo horns will go down and out. Bison have an uneven coating of fur throughout their anatomy. Buffalo will have a more even coating of fur. Bison also have that bearded chin. Now, I've thrown out a couple of scientific names to you guys already. Do you guys happen to know the scientific name for bison by chance? Okay, so you can wow and amaze your friends and family. The scientific name for bison is, in fact, bison. So, well, your tour is now complete.
I
It
don't
wouldn't have
think
been
so.
complete. We got one peeing here, one pooping over here. Okay, great. You've seen it all now.
Thought you meant get out. I'm like, no.
Okay.
geez.
Yeah, that's because they're shedding right now. Yeah. So bison do shed their fur. Okay. This is, I'm looking for the alpha and the sub-alpha male. I do not see them. These are all females. But you see the tag, like if you look at 11 o'clock over here, this one that's wiggling her ears, that indicates that she has the birth control. And everybody, please stay in your seatbelts too, by the way. So, all right. So, for people who have seen bison previously, what do you think of the size?
Yeah, they are smaller.
Yeah, for
But,
sure.
I mean, big is still big.
Yeah, well, yeah. 1,300 pounds is still 1,300 pounds. So,
Yeah.
all right.
They're beautiful, though.
Yeah. All right. So you see this one over here who has the left. You might notice that she has some wounds on her back. Those are mating wounds. And so, yeah. So the alpha male or a sub-alpha are around here somewhere. Yeah, that's yeah, no, I gotta keep it. We have a little bit of queen bee syndrome going on over here, so I'll have to back up, folks. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
See, they're all laying down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these are all females. So we'll go over here. This. So like I said, we'll do equal opportunity on both sides of the vehicle here. They're not sterile, they just have the birth control. We don't want these bison inbreeding any longer. They've been inbreeding for about 100 years now. With inbreeding comes certain diseases and conditions. So we don't want to do that anymore. So we'll get the other side of the vehicle now. I'm in four-wheel drive, so my turning radius is shot right now. So just bear with me if I maneuver around just a bit here. And so it is the male bison that have the biological clock. And male bison will stop breeding at about the age of 20, at which point they will leave the herd. They don't want the drama of the herd. They don't want to have to fight for their position in the herd against the alpha or sub-alpha male, especially if they're not breeding. So what they will do is they will leave the herd, they will establish their own lone male territory, and they will live out their days in solitude. So Leonard's pet bison out at Little Harbor, he's a lone male, okay? Yeah. And so anyway, female bison, on the other hand, they will never leave the herd. They will always stay in the herd. And that's because female bison, they've done a great job with the renovation and restoration of it. It looks really good now. And this is the back side of the Zane Grey Hotel. Those two short windows and two long windows, those are the windows that Zane Grey looked out of every morning to determine whether he should write or go fishing. And if you know anything about Zane Grey, you'll know that he was an avid fisherman, and that fishing figures prominently in all of his novels. He was even a founding member of the Tuna Club here in town, which is the big game fishing club.
Alright guys, so that was the bison tour. We went to the interior of the Catalina Island. It was awesome. It was about 2 hours. It was about $100 per ticket, but it was worth it to see the whole island. We saw a bunch of party or so.
Yeah.
Bison was there, about 40. That was awesome, and the sceneries driving up and down, it was awesome also, right? So that's the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next vacation video.